without further ado, I will just turn off my video and I will ask Ali to start recording. Okay, we are recording. Okay. All right. Just going to share my screen with you, and the first thing that I'd like to show you is this this collaboration tool that we have in Word Online. So you all have access to Word Online. You have access to Office 365 for free. You'll find that you can access Word Online if you have a Microsoft Live ID. So Microsoft Live IDs are free to set up, and you then get storage on your OneDrive. And if we have things, documents and so on in our OneDrive, we can then share that with others. So this one I have shared with Ali. So Ali, would you like to type something into the document, and we can all see what happens when Ali starts typing. So you'll see up here on the screen it says guest is also editing. So I've got here guest is also editing, and there we go, we can see Ali actually typing. There we go. How about that? So as I say, this is available to you. You can see here it says here this is my OneDrive, and this is just within a folder called Documents in my OneDrive. So Ali's bolded that. Now your Word Online is not as rich as your local Word. So you can see here I do actually have a button to edit it in Word, which would then download it and be able to edit in my local copy of Word. But this is like Word Lite, if you like. It's a bit like Google Docs. Most people are familiar with Google Docs, so this is just the Microsoft offering of the same thing. So you can see we've got, you can do things like page numbering and so on. We do our page layout. In the review, we've got comments in here. We don't have track changes, however. Okay, but I do have show editing activity. So this will show me all the things that people have done in this document. Okay. So I just thought you guys might be quite interested in looking at that. You can also share documents through your OneDrive with people, but deny them editing rights, so you can give them read-only access as well. Okay. I will just pause and see if anybody has any questions about using Word Online. No, no questions there. All right, then let's get into the meeting. Oh, no, I do have a question. Hang on. Does the other person need to have a OneDrive to share access with them? No, they don't. They used to in the old days. They used to have to sign up for a Microsoft Live ID, but Microsoft listened when people said that was a stupid idea. So no, they don't need to have an account. Hope that answers your question. Any other questions? All right. So now we'll get into my other Word document here. So you'll see how I have this document here, and at the moment I have got nothing really showing on it. But when I go onto my review tab, so on your review tab, this is where you'll find these collaboration tools. You'll find that track changes is turned on. So I know track changes is turned on because that button is blue at the moment. So track changes is turned on, but you might think, well, we can't actually see anything. And that's because I've currently got no markup showing. So you have different choices about what you want to see and how you want to see it. So if I click on this drop down, you'll see I've got simple markup, all markup, no markup, or original. So at the moment I've got no markup. So what that's doing is it's showing me the current version of this document. Okay, so it's showing me with those changes as if those changes has been accepted. So if I go back to original, for example, you'll notice that some of that text has disappeared. So there was a line here about the sun being a big fiery ball in the sky. So if I go back to my no markup, you see that that has changed there. But this markup allows you to see these changes without having to look through it. That's the point of it, is looking through it with a fine-tooth comb. So I can look at simple markup. So this is my simple markup. Now these red lines here, so I have lines at the side, and that is telling me that there are changes within here. So I can know that there are changes within this part of the text. I can also see any comments that people have made, and I can see who it is that made them. Okay, so I can see the person who made this, And you can see here I've got a comment, I've got a reply to that comment. When I hover over it, you can see that it highlights what that person, where they were in the document when they made that comment. But as I say, I can see these little red lines here, so I can see there are changes within there that I can't actually see at the moment. So if I go from simple markup to all markup, now we can start to see what those changes were. So I can see that we've had a change there. And you may think, well, why are these different colors? They're different colors because people have done different things, but also they are color coded on the author. Okay, so we've had 3 people authoring in this document. We've had Fiona, we've had Lucy, but we've also had Terry. Okay, so we had 3 people making changes to this document. Let me show you as well what we've got here. So that's showing all markup, but I also have here, I can choose whether to have comments, whether to have ink, insertions and deletions, and formatting. So I might say, I don't really care about people changing formatting. If someone's made something bold or underlined, I don't really care about that, so I can turn that off. Or I can turn that back on. Or I might say, I don't want to see the comments at the moment. Okay, so you've got quite a lot of choices here. What I can also do here is show revisions in balloons, show all revisions in line, or show only comments and formatting in balloons. Okay, so if I show all revisions, you'll see here it's just a different way of looking at it. Okay. What I can also do is see changes from specific people. So let's say I've given my document to a subject matter expert, and that is Terry. So I can say I don't want to see the changes. I only want to see what Terry's done, so I can untick Lucy and Fiona, and I can come through and I can find the changes that Terry has made. Okay, oops, go back to my review tab. And I can just say tick back all reviewers again. All right. Other options that I have here, you'll see that I have my reviewing pane. I can have that on vertically or horizontally, so I can actually have that just on at the bottom. And this will show all the revisions. It also shows the date and time that those revisions were made. Okay, so I can see all of these things here that have happened. Okay. What I could also do is I can turn that off, or I can put that on to the side. So whatever works for you, really. That's completely up to you. Now, another thing is, remember that whenever we're looking at a Microsoft Office product, anywhere we see this tiny little button, it means there are more options. It means there is a dialog box that is hiding. So if I click on that tiny little dialog box, we'll see that I have all sorts of things in here as well. Again, this is giving me those same things that I had in the show markup about what do I want to look at. Okay, I've got my review pane here, I've got balloons on and off. So all that looks the same as what I can see here. However, I can also have here advanced options. All right, so this is where they hide the good stuff. This is where we can do all sorts of things. So you can see here, I can say, what do I want to do? If somebody inserts something, I want you to underline it. But I can say, no, I want you to make it bold, or I want you to use the color only. And here I've got the coloring by author, or I can choose to have all insertions show up in yellow regardless of who the author was, or I could have all deletions are shown in black and a double stripe through, whatever I want. Okay, so I've got this outside border, or I can choose on the left or the right, and again I can choose to make this a particular color, or I can say it needs to be done by author. Okay, so you have got lots of options here. It's about what's going to work for you. So what are you trying to achieve by turning on track changes? So if you've got your track changes turned on, what is it that you're really after? If you've got somebody who is going through and just doing the formatting for you, or slight changes, then you may not want to have them showing up as the author. Or you may want to have, you've got someone who's a subject matter expert who's going through, then you probably do want to have them showing up as done by author. Okay, so there are different things. Also, what we've got here is tracking, are you moving things? If things get moved from one place to another, we've got things around cells in tables. So if you've got table cells that are being changed, so you can just untrack formatting altogether if you want to. And you've also got here things about the balloons. So where do you want them to show? Okay. Now, and here we've got forcing the landscape, preserving, or doing an auto when we paper orientation and printing. So when you go to print, you can choose to print your comments or not. Let me just show you what that would look like. Just cancel out here, and I'll just cancel out of there. And if I go to print this, you'll see that I've got my comments showing up here. Okay. Now let's see if I can remember where this is. I think it's in the page. Where have my printer options gone? Hang on, I know I'll find it eventually. But you have got some printer options which allow you to choose whether or not to have the comments looked at. Okay, so whether or not you want to print those comments. All right, so with the tracking changes as well, let me just show that we have them turned on or off. So to turn them off, I just click on that button again, and turn them back on, I click on that button. If I click on the drop down, I've got track changes there. What I can also do is lock tracking. So as you can see with those track changes, I've got them turned on at the moment. If somebody wanted to, they could just turn them off. So if they wanted to come in and make changes to the documents, they could turn off track changes, they could make the changes, and then they could turn track changes back on again, and I would be none the wiser. So what I can do is I can actually lock that. If I lock that, it's going to ask me to put in a password. Okay, so it's just, and this is purely to do with track changes. So this password does not protect your document. It's just about whether or not you're allowing people to turn track changes on and off. This password is not recoverable. I can't help you with that. No one can help you with that. So do be careful about using it. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? No. Okay. No questions. Great. Okay, so with the track changes as well, let's look at how we actually cope with them. So what do we do now we've got all of these different sorts of track changes going on? You'll see here I've got accept, I've got reject, and I've got previous and next. So if I come up to the top of my document, let me just click in my document and click at the top. I am going to go on to my next. Oh, sorry, I've got a question. So I'm just being asked, can this be set up at some point after the document is initially created? Yes, you can turn track changes on and off willy-nilly. So you can do it at any point that you want to throughout the life of the document. So it doesn't have to be set up straight away. Do it any time that you want. Okay. All right, so as I said, here I am at the beginning of my document. I'm going to click on my next button, and what it does is it highlights the change. So you see there it's highlighting the fact that energy has been crossed out and that bubbles has been inserted. So I can choose from here, I can choose to accept and move to next. I can accept this change, I can accept all changes, and I can accept all changes and stop tracking. Oh, that's a bit of a mouthful this time of the morning. So, or I can reject. So I can come in here and I can say reject and move to next. Okay, so Fiona inserted bubbles. I can reject and move to next. Okay, with this one, the sun is a big fiery ball in the sky. Yep, that seems reasonable to me. So I can say accept and move to next. If I just accept the change, then it stops moving through the document. But you'll notice now that that red line has disappeared. And if I go into my original, you'll see that that is now being shown in my original. So remember that that line wasn't there in my original, but because I've now accepted it, it has become part of that, what's called the original. Okay. Okay, go back to my simple markup. And let's move on to the next change. So here I've now got this comment. Okay, so and Fiona's going, is this really a word? So I could choose from here to come in and reply to that comment. So I could just click on the comment and say, yes, it is. Okay. And that's how I could reply to that comment. And then I could go on to the next, and so on. So you can just go through. Once I'm happy with my entire document, let's say I've reviewed it and I'm happy with what everybody's said, I can just come in here and say accept, and I can accept all changes, or I can accept all changes and stop tracking. Okay, So the difference between those is this one would accept all of these changes, but would leave tracking turned on, so that if there were continued to be different authors making different changes to this document, that would still be being tracked. Or I can accept all changes and stop tracking. So that's the kind of thing you do right at the very end when you're completely happy with your document. Okay. Or of course I can do the same things with rejecting. Okay. All right. So that's how you actually sort of move through. Now looking at the comments, you'll see here I've got show comments. I can turn that on and off. You'll see I still get a bubble, and I can click to see that particular comment. Okay, so it's another thing. So comments are different from track changes. See, they sort of come up the same way when we're just looking at the reviewing, but you'll see here I can, as I say, I can show them or not. All right. Now, if I want to add a comment, so I can come in here. It was last visited in 1972. I can highlight that and go insert comment, and I can say what a great year. Okay, so I can now do that. I can then say I want to go to the next. So again, I can move through with this previous and next. That was showing me the comments as well. But if I just want to look at comments, I can go next and next, next, and so on. So you can see I can go through and look at all of them. Okay. Now, if I decide that I want to go, yes, I don't like that comment, I can come in here and I can delete. So I can delete individual comments, or as you'll see, I can delete all comments in document. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much comments. They're fairly straightforward to use, and they can be very useful. They're a great way to have conversations with people. So rather than going in and you having a bit of a fight over people just doing the track changes and stopping things, you know, and if people keep changing it and changing it back and changing it and changing it back, you can have that kind of conversation in the comments instead. Okay. Now, other things that we can do here is this ink comment. Now, I'm on a laptop at the moment, so this ink comment isn't particularly useful for me, but if you are using a touch screen, then this can be handy. So if you are using some kind of tablet, I am actually on a touch screen, so perhaps I could do that. So you can see here, I can write here. You'll notice I can just now write very badly with my mouse. There we go. Okay. I can also use my eraser to rub that out. Is it going to let me rub it out? No, it's not today. Oh, there we go. Yes, it did let me rub it out. So that's your ink comments. So if you are using a tablet, that would be handy. But as I'm on, as I've got a mouse, that's not so great. Now let me just show you that comments thing. So I sort of show you how you can print them, choose to print or not print. So from the info tab, I go to my print, and I believe is here we go. So with the print all pages, it's under settings with print all pages. You've got things such as you know, whether you want to print all of your all of your pages or just some of them. But you'll see here that you've also got these things about what you want to print and what you don't want to. So if you don't print markup, you see all that disappears. Okay, so there we go. So that's on the print markup. So it's the print all pages. It's under there. It used to be in the options, but not anymore. Okay. All right. I will just pause. I can see I've got another question here. Okay, so I'm being asked if I copied all the document and pasted it into a new document, would the comments and track changes come with it, or would they be lost? I believe they would be lost. Why don't we test that? Oh yeah, comments will come. Sorry, Alice just pointed out comments will come across certainly, but let's just do a Control A to copy and Control N to do a new document. I'll just turn this on for a moment because I know I've got that there, which is annoying. Turn that back off. Oh, did I do? Sorry, Control A, Control C to copy, Control V. Okay, so the comments have come across, but let's go to my review tab and showing all markup. So no, I am not seeing, whoops. No, so it's not showing me only showing me comments. But hopefully that answers your question. Okay. All right. So that is the comments. As I say, comments are a really good place to have those sorts of discussions. So if you want to have, if there is a little bit of debate going on about something, that is the places to have it is in the comments rather than in the actual changes, rather than making changes. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to show you here is the compare. So compare allows you to look at the differences between two documents. Okay. So let me just do a quick compare. Okay, so I can compare and I can combine as well. Okay, so if I've got my original document from, let's see if I have this one. Okay, and then I've got my revised document, which is this one, and I say okay. Okay, so it's just saying, sorry, it's just because I've actually got the track changes still turned on. So there are some track changes that I haven't yet accepted or rejected. So Word is just warning me saying, we're just going to pretend that you've accepted them all. Is that okay? Okay, so at this point I can say no and go back and do my accepting or rejecting. But for the purposes of this, I'll just say yes. And it's going to have a little thing. And I'm just going to say, don't save that. Okay, so what it's actually done now is it's created a whole new document. So you can see here I've got this one that's called compare result 2. So it's created a whole new document. It hasn't affected my original document. And I can come in here and I can have a look at the revisions between those two documents. Okay, so I've got here the revised document is the track changes. I've got my original documents, the planets in the solar system styled, and this is my compared document. So it's showing me that there is a change here, that there is a difference between them. It's showing me there is a change here, and it's showing me all of them. Now, when I track through this, you'll notice that it also tracks through both of the, so all of them. So I can see there are 11 insertions, 9 deletions, and 8 comments. If I want to come into here and I click on here, it takes me to that place in the document as well. So the compare is pretty hardcore, I would say. I think that compare is a great way to look at two documents if you haven't had the track changes turned on in the past. If you do want to look at the differences between different documents where you haven't had track changes turned on. So if you've been doing the classic thing of this is V1, this is V2, this is V3, this is final, this is final, this is draft final, and all those kind of things, if that's how you've been doing your tracking your changes instead of using actual track changes, then you might want to use this compare feature. Personally, I find it quite difficult to use. I find it quite confusing, and I would rather be managing through track changes and through comments. The other place where I manage things, so let me just go back to my track changes document. The other place that I would use to manage my changes, if I haven't got access to something like SharePoint or HPRM or something along those lines, which actually has inbuilt version control in it, so you only need to have one document and then you just keep saving new versions of that document, which makes life an awful lot easier. If you don't have access to something like that, then if you come into your file, you'll see you've got these comments here. Comments can be as long as you like. So one of the ways that I would do it is if I was making major changes, or let's say that I had sent my thesis off to my supervisor for an initial round of comments, I would then put that into my comments field here. So yeah, I would put info in here. Okay, so when I put info in there and then I go and I save that, that is then within, oh, hang on, it's just having a think. Let me just turn on my comments. Sorry, what I did there is this is Windows Explorer. I right-clicked here, so on one of these titles, I clicked on More, and I'm just going to come down to here and start typing. Yeah, there it is, comments, and say OK. And it's just having a bit of a think. But those comments will, trust me, appear there eventually once it's saved. Let's give it a chance. It's having a think about things. I will pop back to that in others. Okay, and even just collaborating with yourself. So let's just see if that has had a moment. Oh, I've got my internet connection is unstable. So if I do drop out, my apologies. Okay, no, it's not very happy at the moment. That's just because I say it sounds like my internet connection is not particularly good at the moment. Another thing, just while we're talking about these kind of issues, is another little trick for you is if I right click on a document, it's not, oh, there you go. Here, my comments have finally appeared. There you are. I told you they would eventually. If I right click on a document, you'll see that I have got this option here to restore previous versions. So this is actually a setting from within Windows itself. This became available in Vista, I think it was. Anyway, I've just right clicked on it. It's just having a think about that. There we go. So I've got here my previous version. So it can't find any previous versions at the moment. But if you have got previous versions here, you may find that they are available and you can then open up that previous version. This is not a good way to manage, but it is a good disaster recovery. So if something went horribly wrong, this may help you. Also, obviously, get in touch with the service desk. They will be more than happy to help you to recover lost files. Okay. All right. So that was everything that I wanted to talk to you about today. So as I say, we have had a look at how you can use your OneDrive. So you can use Word online if you use documents that are stored on your OneDrive, and you can invite other people to come and play with you in your OneDrive as well, and you can see them typing as they type. By the way, if you have access to something like SharePoint, you'll also find that you can do this through that. It's just if anything that's stored in a collaborative space on the internet, essentially. And we can also add comments in the Word Online. Now we can't do track changes, but we do have this editing activities. Okay. Then what we had a look at was we came in and we started to have a look at the track changes, so what they look like. Don't forget that you can have this all markup, no markup, original, or simple markup. Remember, original will show you what the document looked like before people started playing with it, and then the no markup will show you what it would look like if you accepted all of the changes. Okay, so we've got simple, we've got all, which shows it all in line, or you've got the simple, which just doesn't show that inline stuff. Okay. We looked through as well. We had these extra options. So you've got the advanced options. Oh, you've also got the change to the username. That's just for your personal username. Okay, but yeah, we've got this advanced option. So you can decide, for example, to say everything that is deleted, I just want it to be highlighted with a red cross through it rather than being highlighted in the color of the author, of the person who made the changes. Okay. We had the ability to also just decide not to show formatting and things like that. We've got the review pane, which we can turn on and off, and then we go through and we can accept or reject our changes. We had a look at the comments, so how to add and delete ones, how to reply to comments, and then we also had a quick look at the compare function. So does anybody have any questions? While I'm waiting for people to type their questions, if you have any, I will just remind you that we do have these webinars fortnightly, and the next one I believe is on structuring your data in Excel. So we're going to talk about good data structure in Excel so that you can do wonderful things like pivot tables. And then after that, I think we're going to talk about PowerPoint and videos and why is it so hard. And I'll give you some great tips on how to use videos in PowerPoint so that they actually work. Okay, so I'm not getting any questions. All right, in that case, let's just run my quick poll. Okay, so let us know what you thought about this webinar. Short and sweet today. And also feel free, if there are any particular topics that you would like to know more about, then please feel free to put that in the Q&A section as well. Oh, and we are pleased to announce that our Word online course is now available. So if you are interested in going through our online course, which shows you lots and lots and lots all about Word, including the things that we've been looking at today, so it's a mixture of, it's curated content from the internet, so there's a mixture of, there's videos, there's articles, there's all sorts of things in there. So if you would like to participate in that, then just go to our website. So it's the adelaide.edu.au/training/technology/training. And you'll find information there under what we do. You'll find a little bit about Microsoft Office, so you'll see all of the opportunities that we have for Office. Okay. I am just going to close that poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, guys. Okay, so if anybody is desperately typing a question or a suggestion for a future webinar, then please raise your hand, because otherwise I am going to end the webinar. We have finished recording.